Hello, good evening. Welcome to the club call. It is Wednesday, the 18th of June. It's fixtures day. We've done that at lunchtime, so we're not really going to go back over the new fixtures. That is old hat.
What can you say?
What you can say is...
That's a nice shirt behind you, Baz.
It is a great shirt behind us here. This one. Toffee TV. Liverpool John Lennon Airport. There you go. After we have announced our partnership with Liverpool John Lennon Airport. Absolutely delighted. Big day really for us. You know, these are a huge business, growing. The city's airport, it's growing all the time. 5.5 million people went through it last year. Expecting to be more this year as it continues its growth. And it's quite a big deal, really, for them to enter into that partnership with us, and of course the Redmen as well. But delighted. Yes. You? I think it is a day, in all fairness, and we never say this, but for me and you, it is a day sort of to be proud, really, when you...
It's a proud moment.
It is. No, it is though, isn't it? When you actually, you know, we never do it really, but when you step back and you look and you sort of go, that is quite a big... that we have come quite a way, really. Thanks to all you guys as well, of course, because without you, we wouldn't have done. So thank you very much. But yeah, I am proud today, I must admit. It's
a big day.
Yeah.
No, and it's good. It's good. And also, sorry, I'm literally just having to deal with something.
Okay. Hi, Dan.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you go to the airport, you should be able to see. If you go today, you should be able to see some digital advertising at the airport, and in the coming weeks, you will see a permanent banner. So when you walk in the airport and you're in the main bit before you go through.
Departures.
It's before departures, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's actually
So if you come out of the arrivals, where the arrivals hall is, if there's a Smith's in the corner, and there's going to be a big, massive, permanent, like, piece of artwork there, that you'll see, and there'll also be some digital boards that you'll see around that. They change if you wait for them to come back. If you miss it, make sure if you go through the airport that you get a picture with either or all of those. And send this to us. And in the coming weeks, once we've got a few in, we'll do a bit of a draw for people to win some merchandise off the back of that. So if you go through the airport, make sure you get pictures with it. As I said, it's just the digital ones at the moment because the other one hasn't been done yet. It's still with the art people getting sorted. There you go.
Yeah,
all
so
good.
Big day, but yeah, definitely make sure you get your picture with it.
Yeah, do it anyway. Do it for the love.
I went on holiday from there a couple of weeks ago, and I'm a little bit gutted it wasn't up then and done by then. I'd have loved that.
Also a little bit disappointed that we didn't have access to the jet.
Well,
then, and you know,
yeah, but
slightly annoying.
It's all good. It's all good. Where are we? Something there. We're asking Barry or Woltemade, who would be your choice if Evan had the opportunity? Been linked heavily with the pair of them in the last couple of weeks. Evan have been monitoring Nick Woltemade and Thierno Barry for some time. If we had the opportunity to get one of them, which would be your choice? James Newton, real positive, says, let's be honest, got no chance of Woltemade. And we have to pay over the odds for Barry. We don't have to pay over the odds. He's got a release clause of £33 million. So we have to pay £33 million for him. That isn't over the odds for a striker in Europe.
No.
Is it really?
No, I don't think so.
Jay Warbrick says both. Declan Donaghy says, well, lads, congrats. Yous are flying.
Hey.
See what you did there? And so did he. And Richie Campbell says the Toffees are flying. But Benno, who's a YouTube member, says genuinely brilliant, lads. Well done. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated.
Are we doing a poll, James?
Want me to?
Yeah, get the poll on the go.
You know,
Liam says, made up for you both, lads. The channel's flying. Tell you what, though, how much custom they going to get out of that? Yeah. Dan says that was a boss announcement. Very much. And Malcolm says, well done, all at Toffee TV. Carry on the good way. Cheers. RC says, is it an Avengers jet?
It's not an Avengers. That would be a Quinjet. Slightly different.
There we go. Where have I just seen that? Faza says, congratulations on the new sponsorship. Cheap flights to America. Don't think so, but hope you never know in the future though.
We should get a cheaper meal. Us person, we just get cheaper meal deals.
Yeah, that's what it is. A penny off the meal deals, but it's fine. All counts. It all counts. Back to the Barry or the Woltemade thing. Dan says, why not get both? Dean Fox says, congratulations, lads. Hard work pays off. Thank you very much, mate. Lennon, no updates on Kyle Walker at the moment. No. Kay says Barry played 80 minutes the other day for France and looked class. Kibi says, well in, fellas. Emma says, Jack gobshites. And then says,
feels
congrats, lads.
Harsh.
Yeah.
Feels harsh.
Yeah. Well, each to their own. If you had the opportunity to sign one of these two players, where would you put your money? I know we haven't seen like tons of both of them, but where do you think you'd be leaning towards?
I must admit, I haven't seen loads of Barry. I've seen a little bit of Woltemade. I do like the look of him. I think he's dead weird. And that's what I look
That's
like
what you
about.
like?
No, I like that. He's a bit weird, isn't he? He's just like, for his size, he shouldn't really have that kind of ability, really. Good feet. Big fella.
Good fit for the big fella, yeah.
So I do think he fits. He does fit into that, like almost like coming off the striker, playing almost like as a number 10, and having the. I said the other day when I was watching him, I was like, he's got like a touch of the Morales about him, the way he moves with the ball. For some people, that might be a big thing, but I just thought, I like the look of him. I like the look of him, and he looks like a bit of a German hippie, the German Tom Davis.
Yeah, well, very much so, yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna go for him for now, and then I'll change my mind sporadically as I watch more YouTube.
And Thierno Barry gets closer, and then you go, I always wanted him.
I always wanted him.
He was the one I wanted. Yeah, listen, let's be honest, both would massively improve Everton, wouldn't he? If we're being perfectly honest with it. Having them in the squad would increase our goal threat, chance of goals, and you can't sort of, that's the biggest thing we don't have going for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is the goal threat. You've seen last season, it was just really difficult for us to score goals. It got a lot better under David Moyes, but it still wasn't anywhere near what we'd like it to be. Yeah. I think the thing with Woltemade slightly, Barry is more, he can play sort of as a wide forward, because he can run with the ball as well. He's good in the air, but he is more of sort of like a centre forward, more so than Woltemade. Woltemade's more of, coming in where Decore was, but he's also probably everything Abdoulaye Decore wasn't in terms of good on the ball, can beat a man, got the eye for goal, like Decore did have a bit of an eye for goal, but Woltemade sort of threw balls and got that vision as well, and just probably better technically than what Dukes was. So,
but yeah, I can feel like it two different positions, couldn't he?
And therefore, that'd give us something. He'd be quite unique, I think, in the Premier League to have him. And obviously, he's been linked with sort of like Chelsea as well, hasn't he? So, I think, to be honest, he's probably been linked with most of the clubs in the Premier League in the last few weeks. But so whoever gets him are going to get a different type of profile than what's doing the rounds now, and normally the size of him. But he's good breaking from midfield. He's good with his feet at the ball. He's big. I don't know whether he's amazing in the air for the size of him. Possibly should be a little bit better.
Players are generally getting worse in the air.
But that's it. It's, But then that makes up for how technically good he is on the floor with the ball for someone.
He's a very interesting player. I just think that he's got that like sort of like awkwardness that I actually think that Moyes appreciates. We remember how like flaney, how awkward he was. I think he's got that kind of awkwardness that players don't know how to mark someone like that. He's very unconventional. And the thing is because he does like to spin as well. How do you deal with him? And you know what I mean? That could be a potential sort of real added ability for him and a real incentive to get to go and look at him. And I think that's why teams are looking at him, because he's not like, there's not players like him out there. I don't think there's a very much at the moment. There's very much like I feel like there's like a cookie cutter kind of player out there at the moment. You've got a lot of wide forwards who cut in on the inside foot and try and bend them in. And I think there's a lot of that going on. And I just think, as a centre forward, if you can get a big fella, but then the big fella's is technically really good, I think that adds so many. You can drop into midfield. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I've only seen bits of him, and I haven't seen too much of Barry. And I'm just going off what I've seen of him. He has impressed me from what I've seen. And as I said, I do like that awkwardness.
Like I say, Barry's a more traditional. Even though he can go and do that wide, he is a more traditional sort of number 9 striker. That, good in the air, in around the penalty area. Where Woltemade is sort of right away. He is a more, what you'd think of as, I guess, a number 10, really, but more of a second striker. But he is a hard worker. And therefore, that's why he would probably drop back into midfield and do that job that Moyes likes. It's very much like the way Fellaini used to do it for us, where he was right up in Cahill's position. And I suppose like Timmy, only the thing with Woltemade is far more technical than both of them, really, in terms of being able to dribble and stuff. You can see he scores different types of goals, dribbling, goes around a goal, he dinks it over the keeper, passes it in, got a shot on him. So, yeah, he would be interesting. I mean, the dream would be going and getting both, wouldn't it? And totally reinvent. No, but it would, wouldn't it?
But that's where I think see, this is the thing, isn't it, right? If you really are... See, that's what Chelsea would do. Chelsea would go out and get both.
Of course, yeah.
They obviously have the luxury of having the cash. The ready-made cash to go out and do that. And that's what they do. And that's not... But in many ways, there's two ways to look at it, isn't it? It's like, that's exactly what Everton should be doing if they want to be like, we are back. We are doing something. Like, we've seen that with Manchester United. There's already bringing Kuna in and wanting... and Boomer coming in as well and doing that same. We're reinventing the forwards and everything will go from that. But then you got the flip side of that of like, yeah, but look what happened the last time we dramatically spent money.
We didn't do that though, did we?
No, but I'm saying when we dramatically spent loads of money all in one go. But it would be great for Everton to just do that, to identify plays and just literally retool a whole area of the pitch. And that's the most important part of the pitch, and that's where we need 3. And then there wouldn't be any question marks over like anything. They wouldn't like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, see ya. Chimiti out on loan.
Yeah, be done.
It solves the number 10 position as well. Yeah. And it's like, so you've got players you can play in different positions there. And you'd love Everton to do that, but it's not going to happen. You can't see it happening, can you?
If Everton could do it, the outlay would be probably around £70 million, right? But quite clearly, the outlay wouldn't be that, would it? Because it's not our money spent anymore. No. Liverpool haven't threw £135 million down for Florian Wirtz, have they? They probably made a down payment of about 30 million, and then the rest will be spread over the next 5 years. And therefore, that's how you do it. You don't go and spend all of that money. Everton may well have, I've said this before, me and John have gone through this. If you're saying Woltemade and Thierno, Barry, let's just, for argument's sake, call it 70 million, because that's a fee that's been around for like 35 for Woltemade, 33 for Barry. But let's just round it up to 70 million. Say the down payment on those players is 20 million. 10 million each, or so, because that's about right for what the amortisation is. and Everton have got £40 million in cash or £50 million in cash because of the uplift of different things, that's still leaving Everton with another 30 million quid or so cash-wise to spend. And if you're not going after players in that £35 million bracket after that, but the 25 million and that crunches down. Now, okay, I know that. You're saying, well, okay, that's 30 million, so next summer you got to find 30 million again to keep paying their wages and stuff. To keep paying their amortisation costs. But that's what Everton should be doing anyway.
Yeah.
Because Everton's plan should be, well, we get these, just say it's these two, we get these two in. One of these does well, we probably have someone knocking on the door next summer. But if not, and they do well, we'll probably have someone knocking in 2 years. And in 2 years, we might have the next one here. Chimiti might be there. We might be going, actually, you know what? Thierno Barry's done really well, but we're confident Chimiti can do that role now. Or next summer, selling Beto and getting that. So there's a lot of ways that you juggle. It's out teams like Villa went and done it, didn't he? Villa went and done it. And as much as we can go, well, they've had to sell. Well, they have, but they've also been in the Champions League.
You've got to build, haven't you? You've got to build a team. I mean, that's the point of football, is you've got to build a team to go and win games. Now, I think nowadays it's how you build a team, where you find the players, how you recruit the players, and what goes into that. You know, massive departments. AI, I imagine, is a massive thing now in football, and so it's how you recruit them. But you have to make it. You have to have a good team, otherwise you can't compete. The Premier League is going to get stronger every single year. Every year, everyone's good. There's going to be so much money being poured into it. We're seeing 9 teams in Europe next season, so they're going to bring. They're all going to have money to spend. I'm not saying they're going to have extra money to spend, but teams like Palace, if they are successful at staying in it, and Forest are going to say, well, we'll need bigger squads if we want to stay in this. So let's gamble. So that ups the ante, and so you're competing with teams, and you've got to almost like double up on what you're doing. It's gonna get really difficult, and football clubs are gonna have to find ways, as you know, you just mentioned there. Villa aren't bothered about selling a player if they can sell a player, if they can get to a player to a level and then sell him, and then he allows them to bring 2 more in. Well, then you're building your squad every time off one player, aren't you? But you're doubling, you're doubling, and that's what you've got, and that's what good recruitment.
And I think we all need to accept that that's what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah, of course.
And that's the way it is. It's the new way of football now, so we have to accept it. And I don't subscribe to the fact we can't get them. I'm not saying we definitely can, but you've got a chance, because you've always got a chance where you can pay what the team wants, and you give these lads money in the Premier League, they'll come and play in it, because they'll all look and go, do well there, I'll be going. You
can only have 25 in your squad, can't you? So Chelsea are a bit of an anomaly in terms of how many players they have, and having like 2, that's an anomaly, while a bit about, because they're trying to get rid of players. They'll have loads of players ready to leave, I think, in the next year or so. Yeah. It's just about building that squad. It's about going to these players. It's about getting your ducks in a row.
But that would imagine if, again, what we're talking about is highly unlikely, right? But imagine if Everton went and signed both of those players. Imagine what that would do to the fan base and the message that would send. Everyone would be like, oh my, wow.
You've got to have the ambition, haven't you? You've got to have the ambition. And we're not talking about, by the way, players who are going to play, if Chelsea go to Woltemade, he's going to be a backup striker, isn't he? Everybody knows that. They've already bought a striker this year, which people are already like, is he going to play? These players, if they go to those clubs, are going to be backup players. He's not good enough to play for, say, a Champions League team, to walk into a team in this country yet. I don't think. So you've got to convince them, either that we're building something, or at least he could be a stepping stone and go up to that. The wages they could earn is a lot more than they're on already. And you have to be bold. Now, whether it's going to be this summer or not, I don't know. Yeah. But let's just hope Everton have got. Moyes has already sort of spoke about being, wanting more and wanting better.
Being bold, yeah.
It's only the PSR that is sort of the thing, I believe, that hangs over our head. I think these owners have got to be prepared to spend money. They've got to be prepared. You've got to put your money where your mouth is when it comes to the Premier League. You can't take over a football team, and you've got this stadium. You've got so much going for you, a club that you can shape yourself. You cannot go and say, I'm going to do this half-assed. And what I mean by that, by the way, isn't necessarily spending hundreds of millions of pounds. You've got to make a decision how you're going to recruit players. So if you want to be like a Brighton, then you've got to put loads of resources into that. Then you've got to give the people at the football club, I want a head of this, I want a head of that, I want a head of the other. And you can't just be happy with what you've got. You just can't. And if people at the football club, by the way, are happy with that, you've got to put pressure on them, because you own the football club, they don't. You know, if David Moyes walks in and just goes, I'm happy with this, there's me and 4 fellas and a dog, I'm sound with that. And they go, no. You've got to have all of the things. Because let's be honest, right? This is the thing about football now. Everybody's got everything they need. And if you haven't got at least what they've got, then you're already behind.
You're on the back foot, yeah.
You're already behind. So you've got to have everything they've got. And also you've got to have the best ones. And then it becomes like an arms race, doesn't it? What can you offer those people that someone else can't offer them? So you've got to have the ambition, and it's got to be matched by real world stuff. And it can't just be, you know, oh, we've got this fella and he's got an eye on this and an eye on... No. You need the data, you need all the people to back it up. So it is money where the mouth is, time.
The manager's put it on them, didn't he? Mark, who's a YouTube member, says, so Ped and Baz, with the new partnership with John Lennon Airport, are we going to see Toffee TV and Everton adverts at the airport?
I don't know about Everton adverts, because that's got nothing to do with us.
You'll see Toffee TV there, definitely.
But you'll see Toffee TV logos all over the gaff.
Yeah.
Hopefully when Liverpool planes are coming
in. Yeah.
That's...
Of course, yeah. Lee says, are we signing them both? No, we're just hypothesising, simply because that's out there. They're both links to both of them. So
have we got Fletch still?
We've still got Fletch.
Oh, okay, yeah. The DJ Dan, it's on our
shop. Everything I wear is on our shop. I'm always branded with Toffee TV merch every day.
We've got
every day
the bootleg stuff shop.
Every day I'm a merch guy.
So go ahead, if Fletch is here, let's go. This should be fireworks, so let's go. Hello, Fletch. I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. I just wanted to start off, if I can, well, first of all, congratulations you guys on your achievement with John Lennon Airport. I think that's massive. I think that's monumental. Good on you, fellas. I think that's quality.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it.
And I just wanted to sort of delve into Everton's transfer market policy so far, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think this is always going to be in the back of my mind, that Everton would sort of do a last minute charge, like a last minute Premier League charge, when it comes to actually buying players. But what I wasn't expecting was just the drought we've received so far. There's just been rumours, there's just been speculation, and I'm just trying to figure out why that is.
Right, so what I mean, again, this is just my observation, Fletch.
Yeah.
Until June the 30th, Everton are still in a financial year that involves one of our big sort of... Because the way they do PSR, it's taken over 3 years. So we are still... This is like the financial year. Yeah, so this is the financial year that ends 2024. That was up to June 30th. So you've got 24, 23 and 22. And in 22, there was a big number of losses due to stadium costs and all that. Mm-hmm. So that drops off on July the 1st. That goes. And we have then the next year, which is 25, which Everton was a lot healthier. So when that drops off, you have that. But plus, we are also moving to a new stadium, where our match day revenue is estimated to triple from what Goodison Park is, plus the Hill Dickinson money, plus other partners and everything else. So Everton should have quite a decent transfer budget and an uplift, because everything's gone up.
I appreciate what you're saying,
July the 1st gets here.
I appreciate what you're saying, but it's more, I don't know. I think that I don't want to sound conspiratorial when I say this, right? But I think there's my thinking of it is, I think there's a broad consensus across the Super Six, particularly the likes of Man City, United, and Liverpool, particularly, right? That they want to squeeze Everton. They don't want Everton to succeed. Because in my opinion, Everton are a sleeping giant of European football. Especially when it comes to, like, even with David Moyes at the helm, and I don't say that lightly. I mean that in the sense of compared to, say, I'm just making the comparison to Carlo. Right, Everton at the new, particularly at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, I think we are on the precipice of the big time. It's there for all to see. Basically, all you've got to do is look at the new stadium, and say that it's where dreams will come true. But what I'm saying is, I think there's a consensus across the board to squeeze Everton. Well, we said this about PSR and Richard Masters. Like, I think there's a consensus in the back of people's minds not to allow Everton to succeed, because that would be breaking the top six conundrum then. Because you've got the likes of Spurs. Spurs doing what they do, they're just rubbish. Obviously, they won the Europa League, but it's sort of like they got lucky with that one, I'd suggest. With United doing what they're doing, they're just like they're 1 foot away from relegation. But with Everton, there's so much potential at Everton, and like when it comes to this transfer window, particularly the clear out we've got to make in the summer, is absolutely massive. And I think with our rivals in the Premier League, there's a consensus there not to allow Everton to achieve and to be competitive. I think there's a lot of people, there's a lot of rival clubs that don't want Everton to get decent players in. That I don't want Everton to, because with Everton now, we're at a stage where they're like the likes of Kyle Walker. What's that about? I mean, I understand the logic you've been debating over the past couple of days about it being like proven Premier League experience and whatnot. But what happened to us going for the young up and coming right backs that are successful and have got potential? Like, rather than kicking it into the long grass for another year. Why can't we get it done in the summer when we've got all of this, like all of this money, all of this potential, all of this like I just said then, but like potential.
Fletch, all I'll say is the Kyle Walker stuff is part of. If you've got a job to do,
it's just a waiting game, isn't it? Until after the third.
If you've got 10 players, just say it's 10, right, or 8 players to fill in a squad. You've got 8 places to fill in the squad. You've got to you're going to have to try and fill some of them without spending cash. You'll obviously have the wage impacts. That's the way it is. You're going to have that.
Yeah.
So you've got to look at what's available. And the manager might go, well, we've got Jake O'Brien who plays at right back. We've got Seamus Coleman. We've got Nathan Patterson. But Kyle Walker's experienced. He plays.
It's his influence, isn't it?
And he's got all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So he might look at that and think, I get him in. He'll be me starting right back. It also means Jake O'Brien can be centre back, whatever. And it means I don't have to worry about that right back position for 12 months. Right. I'm not saying that's right. Exactly. I'm just saying that might be how he looks at it.
That's just kicking the can down the road, isn't he, basically?
Yeah, but you've got to juggle, haven't you? If Everton had 3 positions to fill this summer, say like we were all relatively happy with the squad and you were like, we need a right winger, a centre forward and a centre mid. And if we get them 3, we're sound. Then fine, I'd get it, but not when you need the numbers we need. It's about piecing bits together. We're talking about the 2 young strikers there, or in Thierno and Nick Woltemade, going, can Everton get them? Well, that'd be a huge chunk of money, but they're for the future as well as
that's what I mean. It's about talking about the future, isn't it? Not necessarily settling. We can't do that though.
Fletch for 8 players or 9 players or 10 players. We just don't have the funds.
It's just a box ticking exercise, isn't it? It's getting the bodies in.
It's getting people in who David Moyes thinks will influence the team.
Get a tune out of him, basically, yeah.
Exactly. So it is going to be juggling. It's not. Ideally, you'd go and get 8 or 9 world-class players, wouldn't you? If you had the money, that's what you'd do. Or you'd get 8 or 9 real young players who you go, we can get these in and mould them. These are all going to, or the majority of these are going to be fantastic and make us loads of money. But that is never really the case. It is about balancing and trying to get. David Moyes has mentioned on more than one occasion how
it's about the practicality of it now, isn't it?
So that's why it's a little bit quieter than what people want it to be. But it'll allegedly, or sorry, not allegedly, I believe it'll kick off once July's here. Because
right.
we're into
because we need something. Because I'm not being funny. The fans are yearning for new players because there's a growing concern here that there's 10 or so players which are leaving in the summer, and nobody seems to know where the next player is coming in to replace them. And if not, and not just replace them either, like for like, we want better. And now we just need to get over the line when it comes to, like you said, then the 30th of June deadline to make sure that, because I like the thought of Jack Grealish coming to Everton. I think it'd be a good fit. I think David Moyes would get a tune out of him. I really do. And like, I just think those are the type of players that we should be looking for in order to create a team like David Moyes has done in the past, when he brought in the likes of Arteta, Fellaini, like Leon Osman, like those type of characters, just the bedroom wall type characters. Do you know what I mean? There are people who, like the younger generation of Toffies and the younger generation of Blue Noses, can look up to and think, "Oh my God, I want to be like him when I grow up." Do you know what I mean?
No, okay, yeah, but you can't do that all at once, mate, can you? And Moyes didn't. In all fairness,
it's about perfection versus like the practicality now. Like, what is it? Like the perfection not being the enemy of the good, etc. And it's a long-term project, not just a one summer transfer window. But it's like, but I want the wage bill. When it comes to the wage bill, I don't want the wage bill to be too high. I think there's a broad consensus to Everton not to allow the wage bill to spiral beyond control. And two, just to be going back to the same position every 12 months, like every 12 months or so. I don't think that works. I don't think that works. If we can help it to get the brightest of the bunch as early as we can and for as long as we can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no. Listen, I don't disagree with that, but we want to be able to move on, but who's to say that we don't get the striker, the midfielder, the winger we want in this year, and next summer we get the right back we want in or the left back we want in. This is not one and done. It's not a one summer fix, mate. It isn't. There's
no, it's not. It's a long-term project, isn't it? But so we need a statement now. Moving into the Hill Dickinson Stadium, we need a statement. We need something. We need something to be what the fans can scream and shout about. Because otherwise, we're just in a situation where it's just
Fletch, sorry to interrupt you, but let's circle this off now, right? All I'd say to you, mate, is David Moyes is long in the tooth. He knows exactly what he's doing, what's going on, and he will do it, and you'll get on board with it.
It's about trusting the manager, isn't it?
Exactly. And for the first time in a number of years, the trust is with the manager. He's just earned that. He's earned that. And even his biggest critics need to just pipe down and let him get on with it for now. Yeah. Then they can criticise.
I don't think there's any critics of David Moyes at Everton at the moment. I've not heard a single critique.
I'm just saying if there is, listen, people can criticise in a few months if it doesn't go well and go, we should have done that. But I just think we all maybe just need a step back this summer. But we've got a new regime and we've got no we've got no evidence of how they perform with our football club right now.
I just hope we can build it. I just hope the team themselves can rise to the occasion of Hill Dickinson. The Hill Dickinson Stadium. I hope we can just rise to the challenge, because that's what it is.
Maybe there'll be a lot of natural Viagra given. on day one, and we'll all be rising to that occasion.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like, we've got the
against
fans have got to
Brighton.
play the part with. The fans have got to play the part in terms of creating that tempo in the stadium.
Yeah.
But we've got to put a team out for the fans to do that.
We will. Fletch, just chill. I know it's a hot day. Just relax. Like, we've got 3 waiting, big man. So we're going to go with nice
Cheers,
one, mate.
Pez. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.
Take care. Ta-ra,
Bye
Fletch.
for now.
Ta-ra, mate. See you later. Big Fletch there, throwing fireworks around. Who've we got next, James? Who? Ben. Yeah. All right. Good evening, Ben. What do you want to say, mate? Yeah,
right, Ben.
all good, mate.
Yeah, good. I just want to know what the hell's been going on. Has there been a lot of sun in Burnley? Because, like, not being funny, for the past 4 years, there's been business with Brien, and that's not conspiratorial, even if that's a word. So,
Conspiratorial.
we know what the PSR is and all that. There's trouble there. And I've got complete faith in David Moyes, but he's no mug. And
Yeah.
when it comes to July the 1st, wash. Hopefully, some deals will be sorted.
Yeah.
And then we'll know the transfer budget, or they'll know the transfer budget. Plus, these new lads that have come in, we've got to trust them as well. You know what I mean? So I just think we just all got to just like pipe down a bit and just be a bit patient. Then hopefully, if these rumours are true, like Grealish and Thierno, Barry, and they can come in on July the 1st, brilliant. Same as I'd like to know the score on Idrissa Gana Gay, because that's a major one in my eyes.
I think you've got to. I think if you first of all say to yourself, at least Everton aren't going to sign anyone till the 1st of July, then you've already given yourself sort of what is needed, isn't it? Like that's like the premise I've been going off. It's like Everton aren't going to sign anyone till the 1st of July, and it makes complete sense because of the situation we've had over the last 3-4 years. And if we did sign anyone, then it would be a bonus.
Yeah.
But let's just think that we're not. And rumours are just rumours, and people can. We live very much now. Football is 24/7. You know, we are part of that. I appreciate that. Football is 24/7. It has been for a while. You know, I was having a discussion.
What would we talk about?
Exactly. But I was having a discussion with someone the other day. We were talking about like when I was younger or when you were younger. It's like because someone was talking about the internet and saying, you know, it's terrible this now the way it is, and I was like, mate, when I was in my teens, I used to ring up Club Call.
Yeah.
And we spoke about this loads of times. I used to ring up Club Call, and my mum would get the bill. Yeah, and my mum would get the bill and be like, what the bloody hell is this? And you know what I mean? It'd be like, because that's what we've always been. We've always craved news. I remember when Andres Kanchelskis, we were signing him, and obviously there was the protracted bit in the middle where it got a bit messy, and every night at 7 o'clock, I'd go out to my dad's car and put the radio on to listen to the news bulletin at 7:05 every night for an update. And for most of the time, there was never an update, and that was it. There was no Sky Sports News. There was no nothing.
Imagine it now.
We just live in a world now where lots of people make money off rumours and putting stories out there, which will have some truth in them. Of course, they will.
Well, I'm definitely in your age group. So when I was doing my paper rounds, I'd read the back pages.
Yeah, I would, mate. I would.
You know what I mean?
So we live in an era now where we get all this news and we see it all. But you've got to look at it and go, okay, we've been linked with Grealish and Walker. Okay, great. But you know what? Even if we do sign both of them, it probably won't be till the 1st of July if we did sign both of them or any of these players. And as long as you've got that first bit in your head, Everton aren't signing anyone till the 1st of July, then you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll see other teams. Signing players, but we're not competing with those other teams.
No.
And even if we are competing with them in the league, in a way, we're not competing with them in terms of our financial situation. I see a lot of people get precious about how on earth can Chelsea and Man United sign players. Well, they just can. They just can, because their clubs make millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds every
And they
single
sell
year.
things to themselves as well.
They sell things to themselves. They're savvy. They put long contracts, but they also have massive commercial deals, massive fan bases that they've grown organically by winning trophies over years, going on tours to Asia and America, and they've built and built and built. And we have done the opposite in the last 15 years, where the boom's been happening in America and Asia in the last 15 years. Everton have gone, oh no, we won't do that. We've had managers who've been really short-sighted, who've gone, no, we'll just do a little pre-season around the northwest of England. And that's how they've done it. So we're sort of, right now, as long as you get that first bit in your head, we are not signing anyone till the 1st of July, which, by the way, is only a week on Tuesday. Well, 2 weeks yesterday.
And if you also think about it, even if we do get Walker and Grealish, not everyone's forgetting that there's a World Cup at the end of the season, and those two lads probably want to get into the World Cup squad, and it's their last chance. And if they can do well for us, they'll possibly get into the World Cup squad. If they do well for us, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
You know?
But going back to your original point, I don't think there's any conspiracies anywhere else within the Premier League trying to stop us from buying players. It's just a simple, it's the economics of it all, isn't it? Everton in the last few years have financially been in a mess. We all know the reasons why. Last year, the football club worked very, very hard to pull it back. We had to sell players. We had to do some clever accounting by, the deal to the Villa situation. And we've pulled it back. It doesn't mean it's over just because we've built a new stadium and because we've got new owners. PSR does not work like that. It simply does not work like that. It doesn't really care what your owners have got. And Everton haven't made, by the way, 1 penny from this new stadium yet. They haven't made a single penny from it. So, and that's not going to happen till the new season. So I think people have to just be a little bit more patient, as we said.
Adverts.
Yeah. No, but that's it, isn't it? Like, we've just got to be a little bit more patient and understand that what hopefully we're the duck's legs at the moment, aren't we, underneath the water, doing all the hard work. And on the 1st of July, we'll start seeing the fruits of that. Hopefully, but like me and Baz were saying before, you can't have a go at stuff you don't know about. Like, we can criticise. You can criticise directors of football and managers of old and old boards, but the proof is always in the pudding, and we haven't had one transfer window yet under this new board, under this new transfer setup, and under David Moyes. So we can't really go round starting point fingers till we see what would happen, right? If at the end of this window we've had an unbelievable window, and then we go back to this day and go, remember when people, or a couple of people were panicking in the middle of June about a transfer window that was barely open? You've got to just keep your powder dry and hope that on the first day of the season you've got a few in, and by the end of the window you've got everyone you wanted in. Everyone. Because that's when the business is.
Hopefully Paul Merson says we've had a crap window and you can go back on Sky and tell him right.
Hopefully.
But also, it's not a conspiracy theory. This time of year, journalists have got absolutely nothing to talk about apart from the Club World Cup.
No.
And there's going to be a rumour mill about everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you guys are making videos that who we could possibly targets, and you're just doing your jobs.
Yeah,
and that's it.
What would we talk about otherwise? And then everyone would be moaning because there was no one talking about anything.
Talk about.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Football.
I know, I'm joking.
The thing about it is, right, why isn't it nice? Isn't it surely fun to talk about players? Isn't that nice? We've been literally saying for the last 2 years, or certainly we said at the end of the season, won't it be nice to get back to making those videos where we could start speculating on who maybe we buy? Because we have not been able to do that for the last 2 years. Speculating on, and the title of this video is, there's 2 players out there that haven't been linked with, and you know what, there's a realistic chance Everton could sign either of those players. So why not have a conversation about it instead of going, oh, there's no point. But then, because you'll get people who go, no point, we're never signing them. And then there'll be the other end of the spec going, why haven't we signed them yet? And all you got to do is fall in the middle and go, well, let's see if they are decent players. First of all, as people watch them, what do you think? And you know what? Isn't it nice to just go, we might be able to sign some of these players. We might be able to. Or, and also, by the way, there's no argument in having a discussion, and this is the other side of it, and going back to what Fletcher said. There's no argument from us going when someone comes on or anyone says, I don't really want Kyle Walker. And then they go, these are the reasons why I don't want Kyle Walker. And you present them and you go, they're the reasons. And you know what? Fair play. Or you go, I don't want Jack Grealish. I think, why do we want someone else's washed up player? I want a youngster. There's no harm in that either.
Like this now, God knows what Mike Cosgrave's going to be feeling.
He just wants Harrison Armstrong back in the squad in case the whole of the midfield pack in. So.
Well, if he has a good loan spell, to be honest.
Yeah.
And has a good pre-season with the first team, then if he does play well enough, then he might be pushing for a place.
No, he might be.
I expect a good loan spell with a decent championship club would prove a really good move for him, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how he's developed, won't we? We'll see how he's developed. Hopefully he's a fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, hopefully both of them have gone away and they're working hard in the summer and they come back and they're both fighting for a place in the squad because it'll save us money. It'll save us a lot of time. Yeah. That's what we all want, isn't it? We want young players to strive to come into the, to be ready for the first team.
Up these youngsters, like, say, for example, we do go in for James McAtee, for example. There's nothing wrong for going after these hand-me-downs from Man City because it's already proven that these lads that can't cut the mustard at Man City are brilliant. Other places like Morgan Rogers and that, there's loads of them.
The thing about it though is,
for Christ's sake,
there's no such thing as a hand-me-down in football. There's just transfers.
You know what I mean?
Isn't it? No, I know what you mean, but what I'm saying is though, there's no such thing. There's just transfers, isn't there? There's just a player.
Most didn't work at Chelsea, but he worked at obviously them and Kevin De Bruyne as well.
Yeah.
This didn't happen for them at Chelsea. That's all.
Yeah. There's been loads. There's been a catalogue of them at Everton over years and other football clubs. People don't always work out, and you get them and you give them a chance, and suddenly they work for you. And Moyes has had great success in that. So let's maybe continue that. As long as they make our
squad better, and everyone's fighting for a place, it can only be a good thing. In my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, lads.
Nice one, Ben.
Plenty of other people. Cheers, mate.
Nice one, mate. See you later.
Bye-bye.
See you, Ben. Ta-ra, mate.
Who we got now? Eddie.
He's there.
Lexi Ed.
Hello, Ed.
Hello,
mate. What's happening?
Mine's a quick call because I got my ticket, so I'll be there in Atlanta. That's all I wanted to say.
Yes, good lad.
That's it. And yeah, no, that was it. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
See you, Ed. Top man. See you later. Ta-ra, Eddie. What a G. Straight there. Aiden. Okay, good evening, Aiden. What do you want to say, mate?
Good evening. Aiden's just left. Aiden couldn't believe this, the quickness. We got Aiden's Alex.
Alex, good evening. What do you want to say, mate?
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your opinion on one of the things I've been thinking about watching a few of the videos is like this notion of who we can go and get now that we've got some money and obviously the lower the stadium, but also how many players we need and this idea of, and I started thinking to myself, some of these players, would they be players that Bournemouth and Brighton would be going for? I know that's maybe a bad example, but I hear us talk about those as clubs that are very data driven. And I just wonder, like, with all these new appointments we're making, suppose there's going to be a technical directors coming in, new director of football. How long we think it takes for these data-led approaches to come into form? Because yesterday I remember listening to something where you had the gent on. He was talking about just trust Moyes. He's always done as well, and I think there's so much to be said for that. when I think about players like Stephen Pienaar, Arteta, Cahill. But at the same time, with striker, has Moisey ever really nailed that striker position? I mean,
No.
Jelavic, he didn't do it at West Ham particularly well. So yeah, like
Yakubu.
yeah, did Yakubu really? I don't know. Was he? Yeah, maybe. I maybe I'm still
No,
still
it's
scarred
only
by
one
James
example,
Beattie.
isn't it?
But yeah, curious about like because I think about how many players we've got to get, and I think about players like Kyle Walker, and I'm like, do you know what? I don't think necessarily if that's the right type of deal. It's not a bad one because, there's certain positions where you think we have to put all the money in on that. Right midfield, centre forward. They're the three
Yeah.
positions where 80% of our budget must go, and so. But then I just wondered, from your point of view, when we think about some of those players like Grealish, etc., I could just never see them turning up at Brighton. And I think part of the reason for that is they've got that framework, they've got that data-driven approach to go, and they've obviously got that cycle now, haven't they? Where they're like, well, the next player that we bought through data-driven approach, we're going to sell for 50 million, buy him for 12. So in a way, we're always succession planning, which Everton haven't done for lots of bad reasons. But yeah, just like from your perspective, would you look at it and say there's two positions we have to go mad on, and then maybe like Newcastle did with Kieran Trippier and some other players, we just say we are going to loan some of these lads, or we are going to take these lads on 1 to 2 year deals, just to allow that new crop of people at the director table to say it's going to take us maybe 1 or 2 transfer windows to get this data-driven model that we haven't maybe had before put in, and then we'll recruit proper talent and spend the money more wisely.
I think it's difficult to put any time scale on it, in all fairness. Is the difference between Brighton and Brentford, they were really data-driven, is the demand from their fans and the pressure. There's no pressure at Brighton whatsoever. There's no pressure at Brentford whatsoever. So they can just get on with doing what they're doing. And it's still taken both of those clubs a few years to do it. And the thing is, it'll always be a mixture, I think. I think data's great, but you got to know how to interpret it. And you can't always buy players just off data either. You have to pass the eye test as well. And David Moyes is very good at the eye test. I think you'd make a really good point with the forward players, as he had loads of success with strikers. Not really, but we would have all bought, at the time of his first spell, we'd have all bought Andy Johnson at the time. Everyone was happy when we got him. Yakubu, everyone was delighted when we got him, and Achilles injury sort of stopped him. He'd got 25 goals in his first season or whatever. Louis Saha was considering we didn't have loads of money, Louis Saha wasn't a bad signing. James Beattie, a lot of people talked about him at the time when we bought him. And then at West Ham, Schumacher had done quite well when they bought him. Seb Haller, lots of people looked at him. It didn't really work out at West Ham, and that's the way it is. So he might say we're being a bit harsh when we talk about him not getting great strikers in or being able to fill those spaces. But who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I think one of the things that drives Everton and has kept Everton going is the expectation, and is a bit of a demand. It's dropped a bit, don't get me wrong, because people started believing that it was good enough just to be in the league, but the majority of the fan base, I still have them ideas that Everton should be getting into Europe and trying to win trophies. You have to have that. Liverpool never lost their belief that they should be winning leagues and things like that, whether we were all laughing, but they never lost it, which means now, even on a terrible season for them, they've been 8th is probably the worst they ever dropped to. So you have to have that.
It definitely feels like we were a ship taking on so much water, and that almost compartment by compartment over the last, say, 12 months, we've stopped that. You know, whether it be the frequent group, whether it be Moyes, whether it be, you know, new director of football, appointing, you know, the board, pointing the right recruitment model, you know, not giving crazy contracts to players that we don't want to keep. You know, it just feels like it's more of a structured approach. But you know, when I watch the videos every day from you guys, which are brilliant, by the way, I do keep thinking to myself, like, Evan Ferguson, if we can't get this lad from Villarreal that we think's the right guy, and it genuinely is, we're just not going to find the ideal player. Then if Evan Ferguson's on a season loan with an option to buy, get it done. And then you say that means that centre midfield position, that 40 million quid player that we're going to do that 40 million quid player, or the right midfielder. But it's I know we've probably got to get 6 or 7 players in. So when I hear things like Kyle Walker or Kufal, I'm like, right back's one of those positions that we need 2 seasons out of that player to see whether Patterson's going to make it, and then we're going to have to recruit a proper right back. But right midfield is such a key position for us and so if we have a limited pot, in my view at least, we have to have that number one target in either right midfield, centre midfield, or centre forward. And whoever the first one is that we can go and get, we should go and put all that money in that, and then find stopgap, so to speak, that hopefully will get us boots on the ground.
I think it's a lot of it's, you know, there's so many positions to fill, isn't it? That not every single player can be first choice, as in, like, in our eyes. And I think that's the big part in it. And when you Sky, I think Sky literally just reporting now Barry again. So it's that name's still just like moving around, isn't it? I think for every one of him, you're going to have like a Kyle Walker mentioned, and I think that's just the way it's going to be this summer. But it is I think what you're saying is, and you know, I think it's a really important thing, is how did they come to that decision? How have Everton come to that decision? If that's the decision they've made, by the way, is how did they come to that decision that it's going to be Walker coming in at right back? What are they seeing? Are they seeing and this would be the old school approach, a lad who's won everything, still got something left, doesn't have to move house, because we always say that, don't we? Oh, he doesn't have to move house. Or are they actually seeing something in the analytics? Are they using analytics? Are they looking at how we play? Because this is the difference, isn't it? And this is where I think we know people, who work in the game, who are very forward thinking and would say, well, Everton should be looking for a right back who fits in the way we want to play, because all the data is there, and this is what that right back has to do. And that's the person you should be looking for. And they're the parameters you use to find your player. You don't do it like, it's like the Moneyball, isn't it? We always go back to Moneyball. It's like the eye test. You shouldn't go, oh yeah, it's Kyle Walker, he's won everything. He's played for England, he's done this, he's done that. He doesn't have to move. That's the old way of thinking, isn't it? Now, have we reached that? Have we reached that point of looking at a player and saying that's the reason? I mean, you've just picked Evan Ferguson out there. Is there any particular reason you've picked Evan Ferguson as a player Everton should get if they don't get it? Or are you just saying that because you've seen him a few times and you think he's all right?
Good question. I picked him out because it's someone that we've been linked to and talked about again. Someone that's of the right age profile, you know, in terms of, and he's obviously had Premier League experience and Premier League goals. And also he's the type of player that no one in their right mind is going to go and pay 40 million quid for him right now. So that they were the things I'm thinking about. But to your point, like
that's
whether
old
he's
way
the
of
right
thinking, though, isn't it? We all
things.
fall into it because actually none of us really understand. Really, let's be honest. None of us really understand. Like, well, Baz might. You know what I mean? Like, put it this way, right? This was the list of people I was told that Everton. Listen to this. So a director of football, well, we sort of filled that today, in a way. A head of recruitment, okay. A head of research, a head of AI, data scientist, data engineer scout, who are data proficient, who don't rely on others to find players for them and don't go to random games. Development coaches at first team level, assistant coaches who have experience, but not just newly minted ex-pros with coaching license, and buy all the data you can. Half of that, basically, if I was having all those people, I would be thinking I was getting a new copy of Red Dead Redemption 3 if I put all those people in place.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a computer game to me. But that's obviously where football is right now, is that it's all data driven, but you have to have people who understand the data, and how you use that data to buy a player that's way above my pay grade. Way above. I'm like you, mate. I just see a player and go, he looks good, doesn't he? I like him. Look at his YouTube video, and you buy into all that different stuff. So when we're looking at a Kyle Walker, we are looking at all that stuff. I hope Everton Football Club are looking at what he's got left in the tank, what his data is in terms of how he would work with the other 3 players that we would likely play with him, who's going to play in front of him if we're signing a new player, how they would work together. Does the data work that, do you know what I mean? I think that's where football is now, isn't it? It's in the last 3 or 4 years, it has took major leaps forward. And it's not just about going, he looks all right, doesn't he? Because unfortunately, you end up with your Schumachers of the world then. Because you don't know how that's going to translate from Italy to the Premier League without understanding. I remember when Brantwaite was in Holland, and the same person was like, we were talking about it, and they were like, he's playing against players who don't have the same physical skill sets as the players who play in the Premier League. So he's dominating players, but will that transfer to the Premier League? Well, lucky for us it has, because but again, that's the things that the people in the game are looking at. They're like, they understand the body shapes and the weights and the average pace of players in the Premier League, and the how physically strong they are. Whereas I think us laymen's, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people out there who do understand this stuff, but they fully get all this data, and I'm just hoping that Everton are using all this, and yet when it comes to it, they use all that. But then David Moyes picks up the phone or meets the fella, and then he goes, "Let's find out if this fella's, what did Thomas Frank said, the no bets policy.
Oh, yeah.
This is a fella who's used all this data, and the one thing he says is, but we still have a no bets policy.
Yeah.
So it's still, you've got all that data to find your player, but then you have to find if they have the personality to come and play in your football team. And he used to do that at Everton, didn't he? He used to have that. Yeah. Will they integrate with the squad? They walk into the dressing room and think, I'm the best one here, blah, blah, blah. Tim Howard said that, didn't he, about Drenthe? He says, we're all insane, and he drives this Rolls Royce in, and we're all like, you absolute dickhead. Like, straight away. And if that's what you've got with your teammate, straight away, you're a bit like, nah, he's not for me. You've got to find the right characters, but it's how you find the right player, isn't it? So it's going to be very, very interesting.
I think as well, last point I've made is,
go on, mate.
With some of these players, like Cunha, for example, they don't go to, it doesn't mean they go to Wolves or Bournemouth or Brighton cheap. You know, the lad Evan Nelson at Bournemouth or Cunha, they were 30 million quid players. So I think this notion that we're going to find 2 million, 3 million quid players that no one else knows, it kind of feels like those days are gone. And that, we do have to accept that in order to increase the quality of the squad, albeit we've got many players to find, when there's a player that is the right profile.
Oh, is he gone? Ben, we've lost you there, but I was going to have...
Ben, Alex.
Sorry, Alex. But there was a counterpoint I was going to bring to that, is there is a way round it, and that's buying a football club, another football club in Europe.
To develop.
Which Liverpool are trying to buy Getafe in Spain.
Are they?
Well, you know what I mean.
FSG.
FSG are trying to buy Getafe. And obviously it's not going to work with Roma, but that's the way round it. I mean, why... If I was the Freakins, and we said it about Mashiri for years, didn't we? That's the next thing they should be doing, is looking to buy a club that can facilitate plays for us and maybe plays for Roma. Makes sense. And, we can buy players and put them on loan there, or that's where we develop players. Because whether we like it or not, but that's the world we live in now. We live in a multi-club thing, and that's the right way to do it, isn't it? It's that. I think if you've got teams who play in the same sort of top leagues, it's not really, as we've seen for Palace, it's not great. But you should have a club that can work for you, and you can put players through it. I think that's how the so-called top clubs are going to use them now, aren't they? And we've seen that with City. Good call, Alex. Anyway,
yeah, very good call. Anyone else, James? No, that's it. Well, listen, it's data is only as good as the people interpreting it. And it should be used in conjunction with the eye test. It should be used in David Moyes will meet the person or speak to the person and decide whether or not he thinks they're a good enough character. You improve it. It's about improving players. The manager did that through the second half of the season. And we'll see where we go with it. But Everton are getting a recruitment team in. They're changing things around. They're trying to do things differently. And all you can do is try to do your best. Isn't it? And that's all we can do. And let's try and get the right people in. Let's see if it gives us a sound footing to move forward from. And see where we end up. Things are a lot brighter than what they have been for a number of years. We've got owners who want to do well in. They've got money, like real money. And we've got a good manager who most of us trust. And we finished the season strong. So the players, were never as bad as people made out. But they've got to step up again because this manager won't let them rest on the laurels, and he wants better players in. And we'll have to be balanced. If we, we'll have to be balanced with the players we bring in. Won't all be the players we probably all want, because that's just it's not like that football, is it? We're talking about Woltemade and Barry. Everton might not end up with either of those players, but they are ones who've been discussed, so we'll discuss them. But they're the right type of striker we should be looking at. But when he was talking about those players don't exist, just one point I wanted to pivot with Alec, when he was saying, Evan Nielsen was 40 million actually. Those players don't exist anymore. Well, Thierno Barry went for less than €10 million to Villarreal.
That's it. That's the point.
So it's going and grabbed them. We
point.
said this with Amadou Onana. Amadou Onana went to Lille
you might
for
have
11
to put
million.
them somewhere first, mightn't you?
Or develop them and then go right. And we tried it with Chimiti and he's been injured. But if we had somewhere to get Chimiti and go where Everton need to move, in my opinion, into the phase where they can spend €10 million on a striker, but it's nothing to do with the first team. Almost, because we're gonna develop.
But you've got to have somewhere to put them, haven't you?
You've got to have it like that, and maybe that's where the lower level, Dutch, Belgian, French, or if you can go and get a Spanish. I mean, go and get a team in the league, it'd be unbelievable, obviously. But we'll see. That it? No one else waiting? Right, we're done. Someone mentioned the Ghanaian striker. Yeah, we were linked with the lad playing in France, weren't we, yesterday? His name slips me mind, but he's someone who Everton could look at, but he'd be a supplementary one as well. You still need to get a Woltemade, whoever, and him. So they're the ones you're looking at as well, and the developmental thing again. And the other thing as well is tomorrow the lunchtime live will be 2:00, because we've got an interview in the morning, but it's the person's got to do something else first and all that. So we're sort of going in along with him, fitting in with him. So it'll be 2:00. Still be on the Daily Live, but it'll be 2 p.m. tomorrow. So there you go. Take it easy. Have a great night. Like, subscribe, do all that. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.